is our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
While we remain standing, we take the third stanza of the national anthem as our opening prayer. Together we pray.
O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Amen.
Thank you. You may kindly be seated.
Please, let us have our seats. Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you all to the 32nd Engineering Assembly. Ladies and gentlemen, can you now permit us to welcome very important guests and dignitaries who are here today to welcome, to grace this wonderful event. Ladies and gentlemen, may we make welcome to this event. Please, we should welcome his arrival. We welcome the arrival of the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Architect Ahmed M. Dangiwa, FNIA. Ladies and gentlemen, we recognize the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Let's put our hands together for the President of Nigeria. Also, we have here our special guests at this event, one of which is His Excellency, the distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, Senate President. We also have His Excellency, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. Let's put our hands together for them. I'm very sure we'll be having them here very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, also here present, we have the chairman of the opening ceremony of the 32nd Engineering Assembly, in person of the Managing Director and CEO of Dover Engineering Limited, Engineer Eloka Eje, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. He is ably represented here by the General Manager Projects, Dover Engineering Limited, Dr. Augustine Onyali. Dr. Augustine Onyali, can you please stand up for recognition? You are very, very much welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we recognize the chief host of this event, the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, His Excellency Senator Dave Nweze Umahi. We equally recognize our host at this event, His Excellency Barrister Ezenwoye Sonwike, OON, Honorable Minister, Federal Capital Territory. Ladies and gentlemen, the person I'm about to call, please, when I call him, and you know you love him, and you know he has done great and very well for the engineering profession, I want to hear your cheer and I want to hear your clapping. Ladies and gentlemen, may I please recognize the co-host of this event, the President of the Council for the regulation of engineering in Nigeria, Engineer Professor Sadiq Zubair Abubakar, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, Fellow Academy of Engineering, Fellow Nigerian Institution of Agricultural Engineers. He is not here alone. He is here with his amiable wife, Professor Aisha Abubakar. Please a round of applause for her. Ladies and gentlemen, we have here seated to grace this event executive governors of our wonderful country, Nigeria. We have here the executive governor of Nasarawa State, in person of Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. Your Excellency, you are very, very welcome. Also here at this event is the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babatunde Sanwo-Olu, who is ably represented here by Engineer Dr. Adekunle Olayinka, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. He is the special advisor to the Governor Office of Works. Please, let's put our hands together for him. Also here at this event, we have the representative of the Governor of Ebonyi State. The Governor of Ebonyi State is Right Honorable Francis Ogbonna Erishi Nwifuru. He is here represented by the Commissioner of Works, Ebonyi State, Engineer Stanley Ilebuchi. Can we please put our hands together for him? Ladies and gentlemen, also here at this event is the Executive Governor of Katsina State, His Excellency Diko Umaru Rada. He is here represented by the Director, Katsina State Water Board, Engineer Dr. Tukur Hassan. Can we please put our hands together for him? You are very, very much welcome at this event. Ladies and gentlemen, here also present at this event, we have the Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NAMA, Engineer Farouk Ahmed Umar, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. Can we please put our hands together for him? You are very, very much welcome. We have here in our midst the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Architect Ahmed M. Dangiwa. Can we please put our hands together for our Honorable? Also here present, we have the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, Honorable Engineer Professor Joseph Salomon Uteb, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. Can we please put our hands together for him or his representatives? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, also we have at this event we have the guest speaker of this event, our keynote speaker, Professor Engineer Megat Yohari bin Megat Mohammed Noor. He is of the Board of Engineers of Malaysia. Let's put our hands together for him. You're welcome. We also have here seated one of the paper presenters for today, Engineer Professor Samson Duna, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. He is Director General and CEO, Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute. Let's put our hands together for him. Ladies and gentlemen, we have also here present at this event the President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Margaret Aina Oguntala, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. She is the 34th President of the Society and the first female President in the Society's 66-year history. Let's put our hands together for her. We have also here present the President of the President of the Nigerian Association of Technologies Engineers, Right Honorable Engineering Tech Dominic Uduata F. Nate. Let's put our hands together for him. We have also here at this event the President of NAEP, Honorable Umar Usman May Kunkele F. NAEP. Let's put our hands together for him. We also have here the ACEN President, Engineer Kamsalem Al-Haji Bukar, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. Let's put our hands together for him. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please put our hands together as we recognize at this event the chairman of this year's Engineering Assembly Planning Committee, who is equally the Vice President of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, Engineer Olaolu Ogunduile, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. Let's put our hands together for him. Ladies and gentlemen, we have also in this event the Executive Secretary of the National Board for Technical Education, Professor Idris M. Bugaje. Please let's put our hands together for him. You're very, very much welcome. Also here in our midst is the former Deputy Governor of Osun State and the former Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Engineer Senator Iola Omishore, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. You are very, very much welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now recognize the Deputy President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, who equally is the immediate past President of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria. Please make welcome Engineer Ali Alimatuya Rabiu, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, Fellow Academy of Engineering, member of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is equally the Shigari of Lafia. Please put your hands together for him. We have also here past president of the Council for the Regulation .
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, sorry I have to actually break this protocol. It is something of great importance. The Honorable Minister of Housing has to go to Katsina for the burial of the mother of the past president of Nigeria, His Excellency late President Umaru Yar'Adua, lost the mother. So the Minister of Housing is the one that will represent this President of Nigeria. So at this point, he has to come up to actually give his goodwill message. Please permit us for this break of protocol. Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, you are welcome, sir.
This four of them present.
I'm to present, the Vice President will do the
Yes.
The President, Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, ably represented here, the Honorable Minister of Federal Ministry of Works, Senator Umweze David, ably represented here, His Excellency the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Sule, who is a Fellow of Nigerian Society of Engineers, other distinguished members of the Council, headed by the President of the Council for Registration of Engineering, Nigeria, Engineer Saidu Abubakar, who is a professor, the Registrar Council of Regulation of Engineering, Engineer Ada Ademola, FNSE. I want to stand on the existing protocol, please. Sorry to make a little corrections. The Vice President is the one that is representing the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces in Katsina for the burial of the mother of the late President, President Umar Musa Yar'Adua. The Vice President just called me some few minutes ago that I should be in the delegation to Katsina now. So thank you very much. First, I would like to thank the leadership of the Council for Regulation of Engineering of Nigeria, COREN, for inviting me to this 32nd Engineering Assembly. As you quite well know, engineering is a key part of the housing development sector process. At the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, we rely heavily on the expertise of our structural, mechanical, electrical, civil engineers in all our activities, all of who are registered members of COREN, and their work is vital to achieving our goals for affordable housing and sustainable urban development. Through COREN, though COREN does not fall under the supervision of the Ministry of Housing, but it remains one of our foremost important regulatory partners. The standards COREN sets and the professional ethics it enforces are critical to ensuring the quality, safety, resilience of housing and infrastructure projects across the country. That's why, despite receiving the invitation only a few days ago, I felt it was essential to be here today. As you are all aware, COREN Assembly is a normal annual mandatory event for all registered engineering professionals, such as engineers and even technologists, technicians, craftsmen, artisans, and even farms. to satisfy the requirement for renewal of practice license to minimize quackery responsible for the incessant engineering infrastructure failures. The theme of this year's assembly, the regulatory engineering profession for shared prosperity in Nigeria, is very fitting for the moment. I'm happy to note that the Assembly aims to address the development of regulations for effective compliance and enforcement in various critical sectors of economy, which are prerequisite and strong catalysts for sustainable national infrastructure development. This Assembly also desires to promote collective ownership of responsibilities in regulatory engineering practice, leading to more professional engineering practitioners, resulting in resilient engineering infrastructure. I'm informed that COREN is undergoing some reforms and restructuring to effectively and efficiently implement the provisions of the COREN Amendment Act in monitoring and enforcing compliance in engineering practice, to decentralize its operations and activities to more impactful results. The Council Island created 7 regional offices, namely the Lagos Regional Office, the Southwest Regional Office in Ibadan, the South-South Regional Office in Port Harcourt, Southeast Regional Office in Enugu, and the other one, Northeast Regional Office in Gombe, and the Northwest Regional Office in Kano, apart from the North Central Regional Office in FCT. Furthermore, COREN they have also created additional technical departments to service its council committees, COREN's technical departments, that are the Corporate Advancement and Public Affairs Department, Engineering, Education and Accreditation Department, the Research, Statistics and Planning, Quality Assurance, Registration and Licensing, Education, Engineering, Accreditation, Engineering, Regulation, Monitoring and Enforcement departments. I understand that also COREN also expanded its regulatory activities to cover many critical sectors of the economy, including the oil and gas, power, mining, communications, construction and building, maritime, aviation and aerospace, agro-allied manufacturing, apart from the transportation, amongst others, for effective delivery on the Council's mandate. So as the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, I can tell you that effective regulation of the construction and build sector is key to my ministry, especially to curb the ugly development of incessant building collapse and other infrastructure. Let me congratulate COREN for rising to the occasion by playing a leading role among the regulators in the built environment in the following: in the training and certification and licensing ERM inspectors, and also in constituting the ERM and E, the task force for regional levels, including those one I've mentioned earlier. Also, the establishment of engineering, intelligence, and surveillance whistleblowers to ease identification of sharp practices during construction stages of projects and distressed buildings. Establish engineering investigation panel in each region. I learned also the COREN have also established disciplinary tribunal for trying professionals of misconduct. They have also initial effort to develop critical mass of engineering infrastructure failure and forensic investigation in collaboration with the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, NIBRI, and the Chartered Institute of Fraud and Certified Forensic Investigators in Nigeria. So the Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development appreciates the contribution of COREN in developing a checklist to provide verifiable, complete documentation of the construction process that allows tracking of actions or inactions to establishing culpability in building collapse in Nigeria. This is geared towards finding lasting solutions to menace of building collapse in Nigeria. In line with the policy of the federal government of Nigeria, the Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development organized a meeting that was held on the 8th of August 2024, just 2 weeks ago, by key stakeholders in the built environment to consider the report of the committee set up to develop a roadmap to handle the ancestor building collapse in Nigeria. The ministry is poised to promote a synergy, teamwork, and encourage sharing useful information to enable whistleblowing on all building collapse projects or distressed buildings so that the proactive steps can be taken to prevent the rampant avoidable menace. It was during this meeting that we held with the committee that we extracted and find out that any the culprit in any building collapse, I think they are just joking. Because from the design process, we know who designed the buildings. And they must be professional who designed the buildings. And if there's any person who is a quack that designed the building, you know that's where the building collapse will start. From there, it leads to the regulatory, the building approval, the department, which is development control, that approved that designs. All we know that the control, the building design, the approval divisions or departments in any state government or the federal ministries, you'll find that it is professionals that are assigned with the responsibility of giving that approval. So even at that level, you can find who is the culprit, whether the person, the design, they have not checked the designs properly or even the calculations. Then it goes to the who are the contractors who design these buildings. If you employ a quack engineer or a quack contractor who doesn't have the capacity, you know that there is bound to have a building collapse for not following the specifications, even the supervision process that has taken place. So that's the checklist we gave that committee to go and establish and draw up with, so that if there's any building collapse, even in the state government where we don't have jurisdiction to prosecute, we have the jurisdiction to go and make investigations and then table that our report by identifying who are the culprit and then pass it to the state government to prosecute. Because this is very essential, and there are rampant avoidable cases that can be checked and curtailed. So finally, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, esteemed members of the engineering community, ladies and gentlemen, this year's event provides a unique opportunity to address the persistent challenges of engineering failures. It also offers an opportunity to reflect on the present realities which engineering must find solutions to. These successes can help to reposition the practice of engineering in Nigeria and unlock the immense potential of the profession. That's a vital contributor to the sustainable socio-economic and infrastructural development of our nation. I thank you and I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much.
Can we put our hands together for the Honorable Minister?
Thank you very much, sir. Very quickly, I would like to also recognize in our midst His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Abba Kabir Yusuf. He's ably represented here this morning by Engineer Buba Galadima. We welcome you, sir. Thank you for being here. We also have in our midst present His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Enugu State, Barrister Peter Mba. He's ably represented here this morning by Ajogu Sunday Emeka. He's the Commissioner of Special Duties, Enugu State. I'd like to also very specially welcome in our midst this morning the former Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu. He's a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and fellow of the Academy of Engineering. I'd like to also recognize in our midst this morning the Chairman, National Assembly Commission, Engineer Ahmed Amshi, FNSC, fellow Academy of Engineering. We welcome you, sir. Thank you for being here with us this morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, also here present are past presidents of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria. We have here Engineer Professor M.A. Gulma, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, MFR. Let's put our hands together for him. You're welcome. We have also here Engineer Habu Gumel, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, Fellow Academy of Engineering, OON. Let's put our hands together for our past president. Also here present is a past president of COREN, Engineer Ibikunle Ogunbayo, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, Fellow Academy of Engineering. We also have here present, we have already recognized him at this event, the Deputy President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers is equally a past president of COREN. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together also as we welcome the chairman of the FCT Civil Service Commission, Engineer Emeka Eze, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, Fellow Academy of Engineering, is also a past president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Please, all the past vice presidents of COREN present at this assembly, can you please stand up for recognition? All past presidents of COREN, vice presidents of COREN, please stand up for recognition. We recognize you. You are happy. Please put your hands together for them. Can we equally have all the past presidents of ACEN, NSC, NATE, NICET, and NAEC here present? Please stand up. Stand up for recognition. All past presidents of these institutions, you are very, very much welcome. Please put your hands together for them. Let's put our hands together for them. Also, please, can we have all the past registrars of COREN? Past registrars of COREN here present, please, can you be upstanding? Past registrars of COREN, put your hands together for them. As we equally welcome to this event the current registrar of COREN, Engineer Professor Adisa Bello, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, Fellow Academy of Engineering. Prof, you are welcome. Please, can we have all the council members of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering here present? Please be upstanding for recognition. All council members, please, can we have you standing? Put your hands together for them. They are the council members. Clap for them very well. They have been representing you all very, very well. All engineers in the house, can you please make some noise? You are not making noise enough. We are recognizing you now. If you are an engineer in the house, make some noise. Can you wave your hands? Oh, that's wonderful. All technologists in the house, wave your hands, wave your hands. We welcome you. Our technicians, wave your hands. Consulting firm members, wave your hands. Contracting firm members, you are all welcome to this event.
Our eminent speakers and paper presenters, we welcome you here this morning, and we're delighted to have you here with us. Our esteemed participants, we welcome you once again. Gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, on behalf of the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, we are most delighted and we count it an absolute privilege to very warmly welcome you all to this epoch-making event, the 32nd Engineering Assembly. COREN Annual Assembly is a platform which brings together engineering practitioners, erudite thinkers, visionaries, industry leaders, and stakeholders to, among other things, evaluate matters of mutual interest relating to the engineering profession with a view to achieving a desirable standard of engineering practice in Nigeria. COREN carefully selected erudite speakers and facilitators for this year's assembly, as they will be dissecting and really speaking about the theme for the assembly, which is regulating engineering profession for shared prosperity in Nigeria. We brought together the best in the engineering value chain to ensure that it's not just a talk show, but a forum that will provide valuable insight into the theme and various sub-themes for the 32nd Engineering Assembly. This is very important because a nation is only as developed and respected as the quality of its engineering. We have a variety of solution-driven exhibitors and organizations, individuals at the exhibition area. At different points during this event, we would like to encourage participants to visit the exhibition stand. You can please ask the ushers for direction. We're also streaming live on multiple platforms on YouTube and Facebook. Please do well to take photographs using the hashtag 32nd Engineering Assembly and post on various social media platforms so that we can publicize the Engineering Assembly. It is often said that great things happen when great minds gather. So let Nigeria know that great minds are gathered in this auditorium this afternoon. We'd like to also recognize and appreciate our virtual attendees and participants. Thank you for joining us, and we promise that you enjoy everything that we're enjoying here at the Assembly, tea break inclusive, because of course AI has gone ahead to prepare virtual tea for you. We're delighted to have you here with us this morning. Thank you once again, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for being a part of this flagship event of COREN. And now, as we officially begin, it is my absolute pleasure to bring up to the fore for his introductory remark our very own distinguished registrar, who has been instrumental in promoting and ensuring the highest standard of professionalism in the practice of engineering in Nigeria. With a resounding applause, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Engineer Professor Adisa Ademola Bello, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers and a fellow of the Academy of Engineering.
Aha, better. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome to the 32nd edition of the COREN Engineering Assembly. Kindly permit me to recognize in absentia the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, the President of the Senate, ably represented, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, ably represented, the executive governors who physically are here with us. Kindly permit me to recognize our very own Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Sule, representing the Governor of Lagos State, Engineer Adekunle, representing the Governor of Ebonyi State, Engineer Stanley, representing the Governor of Kano State, Engineer Buba Galadima, and representing the Governor of Enugu State, the Honorable Commissioner here present. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to recognize the Chairman, Senate Committee on Works, the Chairman, House Committee on Works, the senators here present, the House of Representative members here present. More importantly, for this particular occasion, I want to recognize the chairman of today's event, ably represented, the chief host, Honorable Minister of Works, here ably represented, the co-host who has just made his address, the host the Honorable Minister of the FCT, here ably represented, the Permanent Secretaries of the Ministry of Works, Housing and Development, and the FCT, our own keynote speaker, the Global Chair of the Dublin Accord, Engineer Professor Megat, Johari bin Megat. The co-host of this event, Engineer Professor Sadiq Zubair Abubakar, President of COREN. I'd like to recognize the past presidents of COREN on whose shoulders we are standing, the past vice presidents, past registrars, distinguished council members who have made this occasion this memorable, the past presidents of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the past presidents of the Nigerian Association of Engineering Technologists, the past presidents of the Nigerian Society of Engineering Technicians, the past presidents of the Association of Engineering Craftsmen, the past presidents of Association of Consulting Engineers here present, not forgetting the current presidents of NSC, NATE, NICET, NAEC, and ACE here present. The presidents and registrars of the built environment regulatory bodies here present, our sponsors and very distinguished partners, our eminent invited paper presenters and discussants, my lords, spiritual and temporal, all engineering practitioners here present, members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, distinguished ladies, occasion of the 32nd Engineering Assembly, as was the case in the 31st Engineering Assembly. As you may be aware, the Engineering Assembly is an annual gathering of all engineering practitioners and stakeholders from all walks of life. It is an avenue to network, share and discuss ideas to advance the engineering profession in Nigeria for the Africa we want, and indeed the world. COREN is a statutory regulatory organ of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, established by the Act of Parliament. And the Act empowers COREN to regulate and control engineering education, training, and practice in Nigeria in all its aspects and ramifications. To facilitate this august gathering was instituted for professional exchange of ideas among all engineering practitioners and stakeholders. It was first organized 31 years ago. The Council has made this Engineering Assembly since then an annual event. This event has over the years created a platform for the evaluation of matters of common interest as they relate to the engineering profession. Furthermore, at every assembly, practitioners are kept abreast of developments within the engineering profession. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, participants at this assembly, you all know, are drawn from all the cadres of engineering. Here I'm talking about engineers, technologists, technicians, and the craftsmen. The artisans are expected to join the family henceforth. We also have engineering trainers, educators, students at all levels of tertiary institutions, as well as employers of engineering practitioners and other stakeholders. It is important to state that attendance at this assembly is mandatory for all categories of engineering practitioners, as crucial issues affecting the profession will be addressed at this event. The Council seriously frowns at non-attendance by engineering practitioners, as it will affect the mandatory continuing professional development points required for the issuance of the annual practicing license. The 32nd Assembly commenced yesterday with a call to all at the Good Morning Nigeria program on NTA. The collection of materials and on-site registration at the Nigerian Society of Engineers headquarters. And this morning is the opening ceremony where the keynote speaker will set the tone of discussions, and the DG and Chief Executive Officer of NIBRI will remind us of what we need to do to avert the building collapse menace. It will be followed by plenary session later in the afternoon, and the session will be centered on presentations on this year's theme, which we have all seen as regulating the engineering profession for shared prosperity in Nigeria. It will also create an avenue for the interaction between practitioners in government, private sector, industry, and academia. And to cement this, the rich exhibition pavilion will be declared open. We believe strongly that this synergy is an important aspect of growth. Activities tomorrow will be dominated by the Engineering Family Forum, which is a platform for interaction among members of the engineering family to discuss issues affecting the profession. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that on the 20th of March 2024, the National Skills Council was inaugurated by the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And at this inauguration, he employed members of the council, which included COREN, to build a skilled workforce in Nigeria. In this light, one of the skill sectors, the Sector Skills Council for Engineering, will be inaugurated. A workshop on admission requirements into Sydney and Dublin Accords of the International Engineering Alliance for the remaining engineering family will also be conducted. You may recall that we reported last year that Nigeria, through COREN, has a provisional signatory status of the Washington Accord under the IEA. This has placed Nigeria on the world engineering map. The assembly will close tomorrow evening with a dinner right here, but in a relaxed atmosphere. I implore you to unwind and, more importantly, network. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my lords, spiritual and temporal, distinguished invited guests, kindly permit me to welcome upstage the President and Chairman in Council for a Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN, a gentleman who has distinguished himself in the practice of engineering and in the service of humanity. Please make welcome to the stage Engineer Professor Sadiq Zubair Abubakar, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, fellow Academy of Engineering, to specially welcome this august gathering holding today, September 2024. Mr. President, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The chairman of the occasion, other dignitaries here present, permit me to humbly stand on well-established protocol in order to save time and make it snappy so that our distinguished guests who are here and pressed with time will be able to maximize the time. It is my singular honor and privilege to welcome all of you to the 32nd Engineering Assembly. I particularly welcome our special guest of honor, His Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu, DCFR, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I also welcome the chairman of the occasion, Engineer Eloka Eje, the MD and the CEO of Dover Engineering, an employer of over 150 engineering practitioners. I equally welcome the chief host, our Minister of Works and Housing, ably represented by Alhaji Aliyu, the Director of Human Resources, here present. Your Excellency, I also want to specially single you out to recognize and appreciate your presence. The representative of the governors of Lagos, Katsina, Ebonyi, Ekiti, Kano, you are equally welcome. My senior, Senator Iola Omishore, Your Excellency, you are highly welcome. I am refusing the temptation to repeat the protocol, but I'm intimidated by my seniors here seated, past presidents of COREN, of NSE, Helosia, the ES of MBTE. My senior, Engineer Amshi, Alhaji Amshi, please permit me, my president, the first lady president of our great association, Engineer Margaret Aina Ogunchala. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I beg to be allowed to stand on the established protocol. The theme of this year's assembly is very apt, I believe, and the keynote speaker is no one but one of our senior colleagues who had labored to mentor Nigeria in our quest and journey to join the global elite group of what you call the Washington Accord. Professor Engineer Megad Johari Megad, one of our erudite colleagues who has distinguished himself as a professor of engineering in universities in his country, Malaysia, but most importantly, as one of our global mentor on the practicing of engineering that allows the globe, allows the engineering profession to have a global village whereby we recognize competency, skill, and knowledge. He is currently being honored to be the global chair of the Dublin Accord. And the Dublin Accord is one of the 3 elitist groups in the world in the Engineering International Alliance that try to recognize the competency, skill, proficiencies, and knowledge of the craftsmen and artisans globally. He's here to speak to us on this very important topic. I welcome you, Professor Megad. I would like to inform you that in response to the goals of the current administration of our country, the Council approved the resuscitation of what we hitherto in the last 30 years called SITSI, that is Supervised Industrial Training Scheme in Engineering. This is a program that allows the graduates of engineering from the University of Polytechnics to have 1-year mandatory industrial attachment as interns to be able to master the profession beyond the theory in the practice before they are allowed to go for the national service for our country. COREN has been having this missing gap for our graduates to equate themselves with their colleagues in the medical, the pharmaceutical, and other similar professions. We have presented this noble idea. It has been accepted, and we are about to make a presentation to the National Assembly for it to have a legislative backing so that we will be henceforth allow our graduates to have the requisite number of years in academics and in the hands field to be able to be competitive and to be able to ensure that our three accords, the Washington, the Sydney Accord, and the Dublin Accord, indeed recognize our graduates in all the cadres in this country at a global level. Mr. Chairman, Your Excellencies, in the same vein, COREN has, as part of the member of the National Skill Council, been charged to pilot one area that is dear to the country, especially in this current administration, which the registrar has already elaborated. And I'm happy to have my senior brother who is here, the Executive Secretary of MBTE. For the first time, our country is going to witness another effort-making event in the way of escalating what we call the Sector Skill Council for Engineering, that will address the formal and the informal sector where the teeming artisans in millions have been allowed without any certification, recognition, licensing, and regulation. I'm very hopeful that after this assembly, after the inauguration of this council tomorrow, the narration in this area is certainly going to change for good. And I congratulate the Vice President of our country, who is the Chairman of the National Skill Council, and indeed the driver of this whole idea, MBTE, led by the Executive Secretary, who is here to join us tomorrow to make this history a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, COREN, in a desire to be more impactful in our country, has been restructured with an ongoing reform. As mentioned by the Minister of Housing, COREN now has regional offices, 7 of them. And we are planning to have state offices in the remaining 6 states that we don't have. Before the end of this year, God's willing, we are going to have functional 7 regional offices in the location mentioned by the Honourable Minister, and also 36 state offices plus FCTE. This, we believe, is going to drive yet again another aspect that COREN has reformed itself, looking at the 10 sectors that we are supposed to superintend and regulate. Again, the Minister of Housing has mentioned them, but for emphasis, I will repeat them. COREN is now going to engage the sectorial regulators in the oil and gas sector, in the power sector, in the mining sector, in the maritime sector, in the aviation and aerospace sector, in the manufacturing sector, in the agro-allied sector, in the transport sector, as the case may be. In each of these sectors, what is very essential to note is that COREN has established what we call ERMs, Engineering, Regulation, and Monitoring and Enforcement Committees for each of these sectors. And we are going to go to each of the states depending on the endowment a state has. I'm happy to say that I will give an example with my brother, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, that Your Excellency, very soon you will see us coming to Nasarawa State with a full-fledged, trained and certified ERM members in mining sector. You are going to be in Nasarawa, in Zamfara State, in mining sector, to regulate those sectors because we know where they are active in this country. Similar thing is going to happen to the maritime sector, manufacturing sector, power sector, and other sectors. This is very essential for us because we need to regulate all these sectors that are buried there and who are the pillars and the movers of our economy. Mr. Chairman, distinguished members, Your Excellencies, in response to the call on COREN, COREN has risen to the occasion on the incessant building collapse. And I'm happy again the Minister of Housing has, as he mentioned, COREN and NIBRI, and I'm also happy the Director of NIBRI is here, my brother, Professor Samson Duna. We have developed a checklist and we have presented it to the Minister of Housing and Urban Development. That for the first time in this country is going to x-ray that dark sector that allows building collapse to thrive. We have developed a checklist that is very comprehensive that will allow us for the first time in Nigeria to track who is doing what, at what point, who is not doing his job, either individuals or organizations, so that we will for the first time be able to track and have very comprehensive documentation that allow us to do the forensic investigation to be able to identify the culpables and to be able to apply the law accordingly so as to stem the incessant building collapse. This I'm very happy, I'm very confident. The Minister of Housing and the Minister of Works are very excited with this intervention of COREN, and we expect them to support us to make this a reality. Mr. Chairman, I would like to inform you that in this sitting, we are going to present a model of our headquarters that we desire to establish, to build, to construct in Abuja, in Jahi area of this big city. For the last 40, 50 years, COREN has been navigating from Lagos to Abuja, having interim head office, which have been inadequate. The current administration in COREN have leveraged on what our mentors acquired. There's a land acquired for COREN in Jahi for the last 25 years, and now we are poised to develop it. There will be a presentation on that, and I believe once that happens, then we'll be able to now, I will allow one of our leaders to also talk on that when the time comes. Senator Engineer Omishori on that. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, permit me to inform the audience that COREN is ever ready to improve its performance in regulating engineering, education, training of practitioners and their practice in line with the global ethics and standards to ensure prevention of engineering infrastructural failures, to safeguard the lives and properties of the citizenry of this their country. The Council is therefore appealing to the federal government to resume the funding of COREN, similar to its peers in the health sector. It is our hope and prayer that the federal government will consider its position and return the Council its funding regimes for the benefit of the nation. Finally, Your Excellencies, distinguished dignitaries, members of the engineering family, ladies and gentlemen, this year's event offers us a unique opportunity to improve on the efficacy of the regulatory framework, instrument for effective management of engineering ecosystem and drive impactful results. The multiple task of expanding the area of operation into 10 sectors, the decentralization of COREN, and the coping strategies deployed to manage the withdrawal of funding by the federal government are big challenges, at the same time opportunities that we must exploit to change the narration of engineering education, engineering training, practice, proactive regulation, enforcement, and application of deterrent and sanctions. The trajectory will help entrench and strengthen engineering practice and promote prosperity in Nigeria. I thank you very much for your audience. I thank you.
Please, a round of applause for the President of COREN. Please, we'll be altering the program a little bit. We'll quickly take the safety brief now, and then we'll be inviting the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State to come on stage for his goodwill message. Ladies and gentlemen, please, for the safety brief, we have 4 entrances and exits. Those doors, you are already familiar with them. Try and please use them. Also, we have the VIP waiting room just behind the podium, and equally the VIP convenience is right behind the podium here. Also, we have the general conveniences outside, just to the direction that I'm pointing, outside if you would want to use the conveniences. We equally have our muster point. The muster point is outside, just close to the security area in case of any emergencies. And please, we would implore you to report any suspicious activities to our security personnel. And we enjoin you to adhere to security instructions and the instructions of the event organizers. We equally enjoin you to take care of your belongings, your phones, your bags, and everything that you have. Very, very important. And equally take care of yourselves. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. At this point, I would like to very respectfully invite up to the stage for his goodwill message. He has some. Thank you very much. Sorry for the breach in transmission. On that note, it is my singular honor and privilege to very respectfully invite up to the fore the chairman of the opening ceremony for his opening remarks. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I welcome up to the stage Engineer Eloka Eje FNRC, MD CEO, Dover Engineering. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward. That's our chairman right there. We can applaud him better. Thank you.
Over 2 decades ago, in the heart of River State, one of Nigeria's oil-rich regions, a visionary young engineer embarked on a journey that will transform the landscape of the engineering sector in Nigeria. This journey led to the creation of Dover Engineering Limited, a company that has become synonymous with excellence and integrity in the oil and gas industry. Dover Engineering Limited began humbly with a single engineer working from a modest 2-bedroom flat in D-Line, Port Harcourt. Today, the company employs over 450 staff comprising of design engineers, maintenance engineers, and technologists, and stands as a testament to what can be achieved through determination, teamwork, and strategic engineering. By harnessing integrated engineering technology and maintaining a steadfast commitment to safety and the environment, Dover has unlocked innovative and efficient solutions for its clients. The company's growth is marked by the establishment of 2 state-of-the-art engineering design centers in Port Harcourt City and Lagos State, and a series of pioneering achievements.
I joined Dover in 2005 as a chemical engineer to work in the position of a process trainee engineer. Today, I'm actually the engineering manager of Dover Engineering.
From Borno State, precisely Kuka local government area. And I saw an advert online sometimes ago. Dover Engineering is taking a and I applied for it, and I was invited to come and have the aptitude test. I did my aptitude test, which I scored well. They invited me for an interview. I came for the interview, and now I am here in Port Harcourt. To me, this kind of opportunity in this country is very, very rare. To be an employee of such a lucrative industry, which is oil and gas, without knowing anybody, without calling somebody.
He actually took on 2 years graduate from the University of Benin and gave an opportunity. He did say to me on my first interview that he's seen some equally qualified people come through. One the opportunity to shine.
The process is very, very apparent and very transparent.
Of the inclusiveness and the guidance as provided by the top management of Dover Engineering.
Dover was the first Nigerian engineering firm to execute a detailed engineering design of fixed offshore wellhead platforms in 2007. In 2010, they broke new grounds as the first indigenous firm to undertake the basic engineering design FEED for a subsea production system, SPS, and umbilical flow line, and rises UFR of a deep water FPSO development project. Their trailblazing continued in 2011. Consortium. Exceptional leader. He is not only a distinguished professional and visionary, but also a philanthropist, a devoted family man, and a devout Christian. It is our honor to
Thank you all. Good morning, heading to afternoon. I'm here to represent the MD CEO of Dover Engineering, Engineer Elukeje. My name is Augustine Onyale, Dr. Augustine Onyale. I'm the General Manager of Projects in Dover Engineering. This is for presentation because he's not able to come in to have this meeting, which was really planned. Down to the last minute, he thought he'll be able to make it. but like a seasoned engineer he made alternatives, and he put in the factor of safety just to get his voice across for everybody to hear. So I appreciate you all for listening. I appreciate you all for being here, and I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Please, a round of applause for Dubai Engineering. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, may we now invite for his goodwill message the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. Put your hands together for him, please.
His Excellency, Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief, who is ably represented, my dear colleagues, the governors who are also represented here, members of the National Assembly, chairman of this occasion, the President of COREN, President of Nigerian Society of Engineers. At this moment, let me also stand on the existing protocol. And I will try not to be intimidated like the President was intimidated. I think for me, nearly everybody is my senior here, so for that reason, I'm not intimidated. All my seniors, I want to thank you sincerely. I really want to congratulate COREN for this assembly. And indeed, I have attended both the Nigerian Society of Engineers conferences as well as COREN. And today, I think it's one of the biggest attendance that I have seen. So something is changing. I also want to sincerely commend the synergy between the Nigerian Society of Engineers and COREN. And if we continue to work together, especially in a country like this, then definitely we will make the necessary impact that Nigeria actually needs. Just like so many of my colleagues, I actually sent a representative, Engineer Wada, to represent me. But after looking at the challenges that we are facing at the moment, I felt I should actually shift the event I have in the villa to a little bit later so that I can take the opportunity to attend this event so I can at least have my own voice. So I think it's about time as engineers that we make the necessary impact. We have talked a lot and we have talked enough. We have gone through so many communiques, we have gone through so many summits, and I think with the challenges Nigeria is facing, it's about time that at the end of this event we should at least pick 1-2 areas and make necessary impact so Nigeria will know engineers have arrived. We do have challenges of the infrastructure, as you know, and I believe my dear brother, His Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Works, will speak more on that. Economic challenges are everywhere. Today, we are talking about zero oil economy. In a country such as ours, that is known as an oil-producing country. We are talking also about a gas-driven economy. And I'm happy that the chairman of the occasion from Dover is making the necessary impact, not just in oil, but in gas. In Houston, Texas, I used to work for an IOC.
And at that time, we used to refer to Nigeria as a gas country that has some oil. Because Nigeria indeed has over 220 trillion standard cubic feet of gas, and Nigeria only has roughly about 40 billion barrels of oil reserves. So in that case, you can clearly indicate that Nigeria is a gas country, not even an oil country. And it's good that we are now beginning to go into a different area and actually getting rid of fossil oil and going into clean energy. Gas is one area that can give us that uplift to begin to go into that clean energy. I want to commend Dover because I knew when you started in Port Harcourt around 2007, and we used to go to One together with some of you, and today I have seen your growth, so I will say congratulations for what you have done, Dover. It's also an opportunity for us, just like the President mentioned, in the area of mining, so that today we can begin to go gradually into mining. I know in the papers you have seen recently that at least 4 states of the Federation are contributing not less than 1 billion naira each into the Federation account, and I'm happy to say Nasarawa is one of those 4 states, and we thank God for that. We know about the various power challenges that we are facing in the country, and I think we should pick in one of those areas. I remember like a joke, in the year 2009, when the Vision 2020 committee was formed, I belonged to the power committee at the time, and we were generating about 6,000 megawatts of power. And we made a commitment and say that either from hydro, gas turbines, and all the other areas of power production, we were going to be producing 50,000 megawatts of power by the year 2020, and then we will be the 20th economy. That's where the 2020 comes from. Needless to say, today, we are 15 years later, and we are still generating less than 6,000 megawatts of power that we used to generate. So I think we need to pick on some of these areas, not just to talk about them, but to practically find a way that will solve this problem one and for all, because Nigerians are intelligent, Nigerians have the capacity, engineers in Nigeria are some of the best engineers that you can find in the United States and other countries. So we must do something to be able to practice and show that we are truly engineers that are making this impact. Today, and I'm seeing my senior, Engineer Mansour Ahmed, seated there. I don't know whether he will speak, but let me steal from some of the things that he will speak. The same kind of opportunity that I see Dover is making, I think we have to be proud of ourselves. That Dangote today, from the refinery, is going to ship out its first petrol that has not been refined in Nigeria for over 10 years ago. I was a group managing director in Dangote, one of the subsidiaries, when this idea of the refinery started. And it was initially going to go to Ondo State before finally it ended up in Lagos. And I see the numbers that we are mentioning about how many engineers or so we started. The first set of technical people that were going into Lekki at the time to start were over 4,000 technicians that went to start this refinery. Today, I don't know how many of us have seen the refinery, from the crude receipt storage system, from the distillation unit, which is equivalent to about a 40-story building that we can talk about, from the mid-hydro cracking unit, all the way to the reactor. The reactor is actually the heaviest equipment you have in that refinery. From the propelling unit to the sulfur recovery unit, the effluent plant has 3 major units. The only place I have seen something similar to that was in Pasadena, Texas. The process effluent plant alone has 0 effluent. Now hear this. The refinery generates its own power, and the refinery is generating 435 megawatts of power alone, only for that refinery. Now, for those of us who understand the loading system, the loading arms of that refinery are 98, so you can load 98 trucks at a time. These are issues, of course, apart from the fact that, because I saw from Dover the single point mooring system that he has, which is for the discharge. And this is exactly what you have also at the other refinery side. Now, why am I saying all this is because I'm trying to explain to us that it is not all bad news. Nigerians, we have made our mark. Nigerians, engineers, we have done the best we could. But there is so much more to be done. And I will close actually with what happened in Nasarawa State. When it was clearly that I was going to leave Dangote to join and contest for governorship, I engaged the KPMG to assist me and come up with a report called the Nasarawa Economic Development Strategy, so that we can understand. I say as an engineer, I have no excuse to go and fail in Nasarawa because it's the failure of Nigerian Society of Engineers is failure of COREN. So I say I must go there and succeed. And I cannot succeed if I don't know where I'm going. And that's why we came up with that Nasarawa Economic Development Strategy to give us what are the prospects of Nasarawa State. What are the challenges of those prospects? What can we do? How do we achieve that? And for 6 months, they went around and did the job and gave me the report. Then we actually inaugurated a committee of engineers, technicians, and all the other various professions, including lawyers, in order to assist us to drive what we are driving today in Nasarawa State. So in order to save time, because I'm also in a hurry, is to tell you that today we are making those progress. Just about 2 months ago, Mr. President was in Nasarawa State to commission our very first lithium mining factory that has the capacity to process 4,000 metric tons of lithium a day. Next week, we are commissioning another tin mining processing plant again in Lafia. We focus on the oil and gas sector because I was interested in what is happening in the northern belt, to say how much do we have on the Benue Trough. I'm happy to say that we have been able to discover oil in Ghana in the neighborhood of over 1 billion barrels that you can only be able to compare with the Bonga, the Erha, the Agbami, and those kind of big fields that are offshore Nigeria. Not to take too much of your time, I will stop here, but to thank you and leave you with the challenge that we must pick an area as engineers and then say, this is the problem, this is the solution, and we must drive it to that solution, and God bless you, and I wish you well.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State. Thank you very much. For the next 20 minutes, Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'll be listening to the keynote address on the theme for the 32nd Engineering Assembly, which is Regulating Engineering Profession for Shared Prosperity in Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with a resounding applause, please help me welcome to the fore Engineer Professor Megat Johari Megat Mohammed Noor, the Chair Dublin Accord and President Malaysian Society of Engineering and Technology. Engineer Megat Johari Megat Mohammed Noor is a professional engineer with practicing certificate and board member of the Board of Engineers, Malaysia, and is presently chairing its Committee on Examination and Qualifications. His involvement at the BEM included being chair and director of the Engineering Accreditation Council and deputy chair of the Engineering Technology Accreditation Council and the National Monitoring Committee. He is the current chair of the Dublin Accord and the governing group at the International Engineering Alliance. He is also the president of the Malaysian Society of Engineering and Technology and vice president of the Federation of Engineering Institutions of Islamic Countries. He is retired. Please give him a round of applause. If you want to appreciate him, you can do it better. Thank you very much. He retired as a professor at the Malaysian Japan International Institute of Technology, University Technology Malaysia, where he was the founding dean of MJIIT and director of quality assurance at the Kuala Lumpur campus before joining MJIIT. He served the University Putra Malaysia at the Department of Civil Engineering. Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Engineer Professor Megat Johari Megat. A round of applause, please.
Thank you. I have 20 minutes. So, Your Excellencies, Ministers, Presidents, distinguished guests, and gentlemen. I'll start my presentations because I have only 20 minutes. As I understand, sometimes being an academic staff, you tend to go over the time. Shall I get the slides on, please? Where is the direction? Oh, it's not on here. It's going down. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Sorry. Doesn't seem to work. I'm going back. Can you start? Okay, I think. No. Going down. This one. Oh. No? Where is the control?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, front.
Oh, okay. Let's wait. Enough?
them next.
No, it will be too much. Can you change the?
Can you control?
Can we change it?
Your slides are inside.
No, I mean the controller. Yeah.
Sir,
Hmm?
can you
Yeah.
when you go ahead, then you tell them next time they will change for you. All right.
Okay. All right. Let's begin. And I think I have to guide the person who is going to operate the slides. Yes, the title given to me is Regulating the Engineering Profession for Shared Prosperity. Next. We are actually being exposed to a lot of failures. And most of the time, engineers or engineering persons are to be blamed when it comes to disaster. When it comes to success, everybody forgets about engineers and the engineering persons. And you can see, for example, the latest Grenfell Tower in the UK was the latest. Next, that was the latest disaster. And whose responsibility is that? Always next. It is always the engineers or engineering person. And that's the reason why most of the regulatory bodies that are formed in many parts of the countries, they tend to form a regulatory body so that regulation is instituted to ensure safety. Next. So what we are looking for is to ensure safety of the environment. Whatever technical decisions that we make will have an impact. The impact to the society and even impact to the planet itself. And that's the reason why regulation is really needed to ensure that safety of the public and the environment are ensured. Next. So we talk about the engineering profession. Next. So you can click everything there. All right. Okay, thank you. The profession is actually a group of individuals. They require formal qualification and training, and they have to adhere to the code of practice or ethics. These professionals, they are the experts. They are proficient in what they are doing, efficient in what they are doing, and at the same time, they have to consider public engagement. So engineers are just not technical people alone, but they must be able to communicate, not only communicate with engineers, but also communicate with the public. Next. Now, that That's what we call as the group which is next, engineering persons, comprising the engineers, engineering technologies, engineering technicians, and craftsmen, as you do in Nigeria. Next. So when we talk about regulating the engineering profession, I think you can click, there are a few more. My presentation tends to be a bit more of animated. Now, it is about, if we talk about regulating, it's about control, right? Is it a direction? It's rules to control. And when we talk about shared prosperity, it's about equity, and whose prosperity are we talking about? Is it the engineers? Next. Or is it meant for the public? Next. So when you regulate, it's usually regulated by the government. Next. And usually, next please. And here in Nigeria, you have COREN, the regulated body. Next. You can click a few more times to complete the slides. Right? Next. And we talk about shared prosperity here. It is all about the prosperity of the public, the nation itself. And we regulate engineers. So as far as, can you click next, please? Right? When we talk about shared prosperity here, it's all about the public. And according to the World Bank, we are looking at the bottom 40% of the population. If you can ensure growth in the bottom 40% of the society, then we are actually doing something, calling it shared prosperity when we contribute towards the nation. Next. 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 Okay, you can click a few more times, please. Just click. There are two types. Click everything to complete, please. There are several times when we look at the regulations. When society develops, when we talk about the vocation, let's say the engineering vocation, as it grows, right, more and more people get into the vocation, the society is being formed. And most of the time, the society will be looking at regulating itself, regulating members of the society. But when it comes to a lot of failures that happens, some countries decided to introduce laws, regulatory laws, to ensure that these failures will not occur again. And that's where we call it as government-regulated laws. And these are actually then being tasked by the respective institution like COREN to ensure that these laws are abided. And some of these institutions like COREN, they also functions like a professional society. Maybe not in Nigeria, but in some countries they do. Next. Now the regulatory body, it's normally being regulated on the basis of the law. But it also has a code of ethics to ensure that the public safety is ensured, whereas the professional society is guided by the code of ethics. Which means to say, if you are in the profession, you are covered or guided by a professional society, the code of ethics, the code of conduct. You will ensure that whatever you do is on the basis of the knowledge that you had gained. It's on the basis of the experience that you have gone through and being supervised. and you're not going to misrepresent yourself. So it is more of that undertaking based on that code of ethics. Next. So here, whom are we regulating? Whose interest it is? Next. It's actually the interest of the public. It is not the interest of the professional body, but rather it is the interest of the public. And that's the reason why most of the bodies that have been created is supposed to look after the interests of the public. It's about safety, it's about environment, it's about preservation of the environment, it's about safety of anything that you build. Next. Right. So whom are we regulating? So we are actually, there were cases sometimes, like in Malaysia, there were sometimes complaints coming. They say, why is the Board of Engineers Malaysia not doing anything to the members, to improve life of the members? But when it comes to regulation, it is not about members. It's about the society. And that's why it is quite pertinent that your topic today is about shared prosperity. It's all about the society. How and what do we contribute to the society? And are we doing it right? So here we regulate the engineering persons, next, as well as the companies or firms that conduct engineering activities. Next. Can you click a few more to complete everything? So there are various types of professional bodies that are in existence in this world. And they're quite different. Next, there are three categories, one would say. One is government-based, the other one is government but independent and more autonomous, and the third one is the NGOs, right? The non-governmental organization. They can be in this form. Next. And there are various models that are available. For example, as you can see, the ECUK, this is the Engineering Council of the United Kingdom. How they regulate is more of self-regulation, but they do regulate the chartered engineers, the incorporated engineers, what we call as engineering technologists, and they do also regulate engineering technicians. But that regulation is more on the basis of the code of ethics. And then we have in the United States, the NCEES, and they are actually regulating only the professional engineers. And at the same time, this regulation is based on the states. The states has all the power. It's not the federal. And when we look at Pakistan, Pakistan has three different bodies regulating the different levels. The engineers, engineering technologies, and the engineering technician. Now, one advantage that COREN has is you put everybody under one umbrella, right? It's one house, and it is easier to manage under one house as compared to what is in Pakistan. And in Malaysia, as things develop, we later on have the Malaysian Board of Technology, but the governing, that means the regulatory body is actually the Board of Engineers Malaysia, that anything that is engineering comes under the purview of the Board of Engineers Malaysia. Next. Next. Right? And in Canada, they've got two groups. And again, the engineers, the other group is technologists and technicians. So these are the variations, one would say, the different models, how regulatory requirements are being put into practice. Whether it's under one house, it could be two houses, could be three different houses, and either it is regulated by law or regulated by the Code of Ethics. Next. Now, as a national body, it is important, as a regulatory body, it is important that we do benchmarking. Why do we need to do benchmarking? The purpose is to ensure that the graduates that we get in engineering, they are of the standard acceptable at the global level. So we do benchmark with either across the world, or it could be within the region. But it is important here that when we talk about graduate attributes as well as the professional competencies, we are at the same wavelength as the international practices. Next. And these are the level of education as well as the level of practice. How do we ascertain the level of education? One of the ways is to have the accreditation being done. Like in COREN, you have the EAC, Engineering Accreditation Committee, accrediting engineering programs to the Washington Accord level. And the practice, what is the international practice? At the IEA, we have the International Engineering Agreement that is at the international practice. So there are such things as the areas where we can benchmark and to ensure that we are always moving forward. And we hear that engineers, they are actually wealth creators. They are actually persons who will be solving future problems that does not exist even now. So that it is very important that the kind of education that we provide allows that to happen. So we are not preparing them just for the current practice, but it is also for the future practice. Next. So when we look at this engineering person, they are basically creators and sustainers. And why do we regulate? We have seen just now it's meant for public safety. But how do we regulate it? Usually we regulate them on the basis of registration. When we register them, they must have qualified to be registered. Qualified to enter at the graduate levels. That means they have the right knowledge, and qualified on the basis they are being assessed to a level where they can be considered to conduct independent practice. They don't have to be supervised at that time. So similarly for all the engineering family, we would expect that knowledge as well as competencies are being assessed to ensure that whatever works being done by these engineering persons, they are regulated and ensuring that they are doing based on their knowledge and competencies. Next. Now, some people say regulating actually stifles innovation. For example, when you see here, there are a lot of countries, some of them are highly regulated, some are minimally regulated, some are unregulated, right? And if we see about the innovation, this is the innovation index. And if you see across on my left-hand side, you find that Switzerland is not totally regulated, but still regulated, the civil, the construction, but the innovation level is still high. Whereas, of course, on the other end, you tend to find most of the regulated countries. But this is just one of the discussion normally people will come up with. They say, if you are regulated, you may stifle innovation. I think this is where, when we do regulate, we have to remember, we are not regulating for the benefit of the engineers, but it's actually the benefit of the society. And how could we stifle the growth of engineering when it is meant for the benefit of the society? And sometimes we tend to see regulation more as protectionism. And sometimes we do see registration as a restriction. So this is where balancing is important. The intention is to protect ourselves, or the intention is to restrict participation? And if we think about, we are in the global world, we are liberalized in many cases, protectionism as well as trying to restrict is not the intention of regulations. Remember, it's all about public safety. Next. The self-regulating, next. It is a bit more difficult than the normal act that we normally have to regulate. Because you expect these sectors like education, the employers, the societies, they are all on the same page, right? And we have to make sure that leaderships and accountabilities are there, education and training are of appropriate standards, professionalism is being practiced, engagement and communication continue to be done. And last but not least, we have to make sure that the governance as well as measurements are being made. Next. What I'm trying to show here is that the human resource that we produce in engineering, we provide the knowledge, we provide the experience. That means we certify the knowledge, we certify the experience, and there are more innovative engineers who will be applying digital application like AI to harness natural resources, right? And that way, of course, we should not forget when we do regulate, the political will is also important, right? We need the support of the government fully, right? And that's how a society can prosper. And if you look at the sociologists, right, they would prefer highly regulated body. Why? The reason being, when you are highly regulated, chances that minorities would be included. That means everybody will be on board when you regulate. That means everybody will be at the same level, same requirements, same meritocracy, and so on. Whereas the economists, right, the economists prefer deregulation. The more you deregulate, the better it is for the economy. Now, there is always the middle path, right? So the middle path next is to ensure that there is elements of regulation, not to an extent that it will stifle, but the engineering persons that we regulate is their knowledge as well as their experience, and to make sure that they do not go against their code of conduct. Next. In some countries, why self-regulation is more important, mainly because the trust on the engineers. For example, in the UK, the trust on the engineers is about 84%. That's about the sixth most trusted profession. Whereas in Canada, those who are familiar with the engineering sector, they found out that it's about 59% the trust on engineers. So you can see that if you do conduct, let's say, a survey in Nigeria, it will be interesting to know what will be the trust level of the public on engineers. And we have to make sure that we abide. That means there must have been reasons why the trust is or is not there. And the very reason why some countries are self-regulated, it is because the trust is very high. Next. So really, it is all about to protect the consumers and the public, so that anyone cannot claim that he is an engineer, he is a technologist, and so on, unless he is a registered person. Next. 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 So these are the 4 areas that is important for Nigeria, as well as many other countries who are developing. Right? We are talking about the power and infrastructure, human capital, poverty and food security, as well as industrialization. There are many more if you would like to add, but these would require the engineers or the engineering persons that we produce are in line with the expected growth. Next. So, as we can see, regulating is all about giving a guarantee that the best academic engineering education is provided, guarantee that the best practical experience is being given, guarantee that these persons will continue their professional development programs to improve their knowledge. It is also the best practice and state of art of engineering practice. And finally, it's also a legal basis for engineering services. So these are amongst the advantages one would get by regulating the engineering profession. Next. So in conclusion, next, complete the whole thing, right? So in conclusion, we're talking about engineers or engineering persons are actually sought by the public. They do not have that knowledge that we do have. And they rely on organizations like COREN. If COREN resisted them, they will have confidence in these engineers. Secondly, we talk about sustainable, we talk about resilient and prosperous engineering. Requires engineering persons who has to be regulated proactively. And that's what, congratulations to COREN for doing such a thing. And it is important to remember it's all about public safety, health, and environment when we regulate the profession. That's about all that I have to say. Thank you very much for listening to what I've got to say.
Please, we can do better than that. All the way from Malaysia, he has come to give us this wonderful presentation. Another round of applause for Engineer Professor Megat Johari Megat Mohamed Noor. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll quickly take these few recognitions. We have the representative of the Governor of Rivers State, here represented by Engineer Honorable Busene J. Benbo, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. We have here Engineer Bello Bayo Bello, FNSE, Executive Director Networks, NDPHC. We also have the Honorable Commissioner of Works and Transport for the Kwara State Government, Engineer Abdul Kawiya Olododo. We have also here Engineer Abdullahi Kashim, Executive Director, Generation, NDPHC. We have the Right Honorable Obong Emen Ekperipo Ekpe, Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, represented by Director Gas, Director Gas, Mrs. Oluremi Koreyafe, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, and we have the Executive Director, Project Implementation, Federal Housing Authority, Engineer Oluremi Omo Waye, MNSC, at this event. We also have Engineer Professor Emmanuel Aluyo, FNSC, FA, the former Vice Chancellor Edo State University, Uzueru, is equally a former COREN council member. We have one of our guest lecturers here, Sir Engineer Dr. Charles Mbelede, FNSC, and we also have His Royal Highness, Sir Engineer Dr. George Eze, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. We equally have Engineer Professor Mohammed Sani Haruna, MNI, OFR, FNSC, former Executive Vice Chairman of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI. Also here present is the Commandant of the National Defense College, Abuja, Rear Admiral Olumuyiwa Morakinyo Olotu. We also have here the former Executive Vice Chairman Upstream NNPC Limited, Engineer Adokiye Tombo Muye, OON FNSC. And we have the Managing Director and CEO of Coleman Wires and Cable, here present, Mr. George Olutokbe Ona Fowokon. You are very, very much welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll quickly move to the other item on our agenda, and I would like to invite to make a presentation on the dilemma of tackling building failures in Nigeria. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let us make welcome to this podium the Director General of the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, Engineer Professor Samson Duna, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. Let's put our hands together for Engineer Professor Samson Duna as he comes up, and permit me to quickly read this short citation about him. Amen. Yes, sir. Engineer Professor Samson Duna is an erudite professor of civil engineering and the current Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, NIBRI, a parastatal under the aegis of the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. His working career started at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, as graduate assistant in civil engineering department, where he rose to the rank of Professor of Civil Engineering, specializing in structures. He taught in the university for over 26 years before moving to the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, NIBRI, as Director General. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Engineer Professor Samson Duna, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. Please put your hands together for him.
Who is controlling? Thank you, the MC. I'm giving 15 minutes with my presentation. I don't know what type of magic I will do, but I will try to ensure that we have a takeaway when going home. Before commencement, let me acknowledge the presence of the chairman of this occasion, the president of COREN, my own senior brother, Professor Sadiq Abaka, the registrar of COREN, my own good friend, Professor Adisa Bello, my sister, the president, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Margaret Ayana Guntala, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me align myself with the well-established protocol because I was given 15 minutes to make this presentation. I don't know who is controlling the slide, please. Thank you. The topic is there, is the dilemma of tackling building failures in Nigeria. When something tells you it's a dilemma, it tells you that it's a problem. How do we tackle the problem? That's the issue at stake. Next, my presentation, have this presentation outlined. I have about 4 slides that I want to discuss. Next is in terms of introduction. Normally, buildings are very, very necessity. Building next to food, in terms of necessity, is building. The importance of building, we cannot overemphasize it because building plays a vital role. We are told that our population is over 200 million and everybody must be accommodated in a house. Nobody will sleep outside. You must look for a place to sleep called building. So building is basic infrastructure. As far as a developing country is, we will continue to construct buildings in Nigeria. Buildings are constructed with materials. Building does not come from heaven like this. You need to construct them with materials. And those materials are very, very important that we know them. The materials can be naturally and some are factory products. And these are some of the materials that we use to construct our buildings. Materials that are natural are there, cement and stone. Reinforcement and steel are what we call a factory product. In our own assumption, the factory product is good, is standard. We can use it without a problem. But basically, we'll look at it later. There are various types of construction materials. I'm still looking at them. We have timber, ceramics, and so on and so forth. So in essence, next please, next. In essence, what is building collapse? Does the building have to fall down before we say building has collapsed? What necessarily do we look at if we are talking about building collapse? In essence, building collapse is when a structure has given way or most of the elements have buckled or caved in. When the members are buckled in, we can refer to as what we call ultimate limit failure, total collapse that happens at the same time. But when a member or an element fails to function, it is called what we call serviceability problem, or what we call ultimate and serviceability problem. So basically, building collapse, when it happens, it creates quite a lot of ripples in the construction industry. And when I mean the construction industry, I'm talking about the relevant stakeholders in the industry. There are professionals like town planners, builders, engineers, architects, land quantity surveyors, government body, developers, landlords, and investors. All those I've mentioned fall under what we call relevant stakeholders that are working in the construction industry. So for you to construct a high-story building, we need competent people to do that. In a residential building, you can come in and say, I was able to construct my house. So with that, I can construct a high-story building, The mathematics is not the same. You need quite a lot of experience before you involve yourself in the construction of high-story buildings. Next, Nigerians are blessed with competent engineers. We are qualified people. In the world, there are no areas that Nigerians are not there. But it simply means somebody somewhere is not doing his responsibility that is expected to do. A building can fail due to natural disaster, like earthquake. Please come back small, come back. Please, backward small. No, next. Thank you. Building can fail due to two factors. One, natural, the other one is human error. My discussion will be geared towards the human error aspect. Earthquake, hurricane, and flood are something you and me might not have control over. When it happens, we say it's due to nature. But we are talking about a human error. Somebody somewhere failed to carry out his responsibility. Somebody somewhere failed to do the right thing. This is where we are going to be discussing. So the presentation today will look at the effect and see what can be put in place so that the building collapse can be a thing of the past. Let's look at what happened some years back. In the year 2020 to 2024, in the year 2020, we experienced 15 cases of building collapse in year 2020. In year 2021, we experienced about 21 cases. In year 2022, we experienced about 18 cases of building collapse. In year 2023, we have about 18 cases Whereas in year 2024, the year has not ended yet. We are still in the year. At present, we have about 27 cases of building collapse only in 2024. In Nibri, we have a desk officer that records anytime there is building collapse. So we continue to have record of this issue because it's something that has happened. Let's look at what happened when there is building collapse. There are casualties that has to go with it. We have deaths that has to go with it. We have injuries that has to go with it. We have property loss that has to go with it. We have time, duration of waste of time that has to go with it. We have people that are maimed, people that can no longer walk because of building collapse. We have loss in investment, loss in time, loss in property, even making our society look at people involved as people that are not competent. So basically, these are the cases that we have in terms of building collapse. Now, we have images. Time will not permit me. I could have played a video for you to have a reflection of what transpired when there is building collapse. How human beings are being carried out in rubbles to tell you the effect of building collapse. These are some of the pictures of building collapse that has happened. Next page. Building collapse that has happened. Next page, you can see Nibri are always there to intervene when there is building collapse. This is my picture in Jos, where a school classroom collapsed with over 22 school children died in the episode in Jos. Very, very ugly. This is something that could have been avoided. This is something that could have been avoided. This is somebody somewhere failed to do the right thing. Now let's look at causes of building collapse. I have 15 minutes. Sorry, I have to so that we understand what is at stake. We need to understand what causes building collapse before we put in measures to see how to avoid it. The first issue is substandard material. Normally, when you look at this material, steel and concrete are supposed to bond together. When building collapse, you see the material disintegrating. The steel is going this way, while the concrete is going this way. There is no bonding. It simply means the quality of the concrete used is in doubt. The next is the faulty of design. Designs are very, very important procedure or step to carry out before carrying out design. When the design is faulty or when the design is an error, you will discover that there is building collapse. Poor workmanship is there. Poor workmanship has to do the process of carrying out the job. Poor supervision. People hardly go to supervise. When you give somebody a responsibility, you need to supervise the person to know if the person is doing the right thing or not. Lack of proper topographic or geotechnical investigation. We need to know the quality of the type of soil. This building is not resting in the air. This building is resting on the soil. You need to know the property of the soil in terms of what we call geotechnical investigation, to know the soil bearing capacity, to know the type of foundation you will adopt, to know the depth of foundation, and to know the topography of the location. Without the geotechnical investigation, you are causing problem to yourself. The next is the essence of profit. People go for profit at detriment of safety. People look at profit as all in all. Why? Because money is all that it takes. Whereas in their safety should be paramount. Design capacity of the approval person. The person approving the drawings, how knowledgeable is he? You carry a drawing and you take it to a body that is expected to approve it. The person approving the drawing is not knowledgeable in that aspect. Someone is marking exams, he doesn't know the answer. How do you expect that result to fall in? I know states don't have capacity, most of them. They don't have structural engineers to approve drawings. What they do is that they assign any profession to give this approval. You have architectural drawing, you have structural drawing, you have M&E, mechanical and electrical. All these drawings are supposed to be handled by professionals in that field. But what do we have? You see somebody, with all respect to town planner, is somebody that's there in a government agency, he will approve a drawing without a knowledge on it. So these are some of the problems we have. The last but not the least is lack of enforcement. we don't have law governing it. We have experienced any person in prison because of building collapse. Building collapse has occurred several times. Nobody has been taken to court. Nobody has been in prison. Not that we don't know who is at fault. Committees are always set up. Investigation is always there. Report is always there for everybody to see. But there is no single record of one person taken to court or jail to serve as a deterrent to others. These are some of the causes that happen because of that. Now, what are the effects of building collapse? When building collapse happens, there must be effect. 1, life is lost. 2, property is missing. 3, loss of investment. 4, loss of time. Injuries and disabilities. Abandonment of projects. Psychological trauma. And so on and so forth. And the painful aspect of it is that it degrades the technology of a town. When you visit another country, people will be talking about you. Why are all your infrastructure collapsing? Is it not a mockery if you are an engineer and an infrastructure in your country is being talked upon and you are there knowing fully well that somebody somewhere failed to do the right thing? So basically, it tells you that it creates doubt on the infrastructure of a country. Now we are sitting here. Now a visitor might come with the persistent building collapse. He will tell you that, are you safe in this building? Is this building safe for me to come in? Why? Because a trend has been established where buildings have been getting down without the real cost. So basically, we in IBRI, what we do basically, we are involved in carrying out tests to know what are the reasons for the failure of building. Next, we go there, we take samples, we go to the lab, we look at the quality of materials, and we come up with recommendations. NIBRI has intervened in more than 65 cases of building collapse. And part of what we did are captured here. But before we do next, we have challenges at times when there is building collapse. We don't have access to design calculations. Why should somebody design and he hide his calculation? Who is he hiding the calculation from? Why should somebody avoid taking samples when there is building collapse? A building will collapse today, tomorrow, they are packed all the rubble from the site. You go to the site, no rubbles, no sample to know that this is the essence. Nobody takes responsibility when there is building collapse. It becomes a blame game. This is the fault of this person. This is the fault of this person. No access to material test result. No access to working drawings. No access to supervisor's handbook. And at the same time, at times, we receive threat to our lives. Why? Because our lives are threatened if you come out with a recommendation that is indicting. So NIBRI has come up with cases. Let me briefly go through. Next. Findings from reported cases. Next, go to the next page. Next page. Next. 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 Good. Stop. NIBRI intervened in more than 65 cases. We were able to come out with various causes of building collapse. We decided to rank these causes to know which one is paramount, followed by which one and which one as far as Nigerian case study is concerned. The one that have the highest in terms of ranking is the use of substandard material. It has about 35%. The cause of building collapse in ranking. The first is the use of substandard material. The second is the use of geotechnical investigation, lack of geotechnical investigation. That is why you discover that 80 to 70% of these buildings fail during rainy season. The bearing capacity is weak. The soil property is weak. The soil is saturated. During dry season, the capacity of the soil is strong. The building will continue to stand. But anytime there is rain, the soil becomes saturated. In the month of July, August, September, you discover that the building collapses frequently in those months because of this rain. The third factor is lack of proper design. Faulty design is the third factor. The fifth is lack of monitoring and evaluation. The sixth is poor workmanship. Those are the factors we're able to identify. Since these factors have been identified, next, these are some of the equipments that NIBRI have. excuse me, as of today, excuse me, let me check. Sorry, excuse me. I'm trying to beat time. No, you can't give me He's telling me 2 minutes. While I'm talking, I'm trying to beat time. These are some of the equipments that Nibri have. Next page. These are some of the equipments we can test any construction material that is available. Next. This is characterization equipment, the SEM, the XRF, and X-ray. All these are existing in Nibri. Next. Nibri is one of the best laboratories as far as civil engineering is concerned in Nigeria as of today. Now, what are the measures to be put in place? This is the core of the matter. Please, I want everybody to listen. We can fight this building collapse. We can do it. We have the professionals to do it. We have the technical ability to do it. All we need to do is put things in action. Put things in there. When measures are put in place, I want to assure you that this building collapse will reduce drastically or it can be avoided. The first thing is geotechnical investigation. We need to do it. Without doing the geotechnical investigation, you don't know the strength of the soil. What do you need to do geotechnical investigation? You need qualified engineers and technologists, and we need a lab. The next one, design that is good. What do you need? You need professionals that are okay. The next one, quality of construction material. What do you need? You need a lab and you need people to do it. The next one, engagement of professionals due to ethnic practices. What do you need? You need qualified professionals for people and professional bodies. The next one, M&E. What do you need? You need professional body to do it. The next thing, select the best construction practice. What do you need? You need qualified professionals. The next thing is building code and law. What do you need? You need people to be punished and a law to follow. Next. These are measures to be put in place. And anything that we need here is not a mirage. It's not a rocket science. All we need to do is to put things in motion. To put things in motion, I'm sure this can be done. Next, let's look at the fundamental questions. If you can answer this question, we are good to go. Question number 1. Is it true that some of the professionals working in the construction sector have not attended any form of training since graduation from school? Since graduation from school, somebody has not gone for any training. Is it true? Question number 2. Will it be true to say some professionals have not even attended any seminar or workshop organized by professional body? Is it true? The next question. Is it possible or true that the professionals involved in approving working drawings have not undergone any form of drawing, have not undergone any form of training? People approving working drawing. Is it true? The last but not the least. Is it possible that the professionals involved in approving working drawings are not even knowledgeable, and some are not even experts in the field to approve the working drawings? Is it true? Do we have rapid response team to cater for ugly situation? Do we have rapid response team? When building collapse happens, people start looking for grader. You know this can happen. Why not let us be proactive like fire service? Every state has a fire service. That does not mean there is fire, but we put a report response team so that when something like this happens. In conclusion, President, sir, conclusion. Number 1, from the above, it can be concluded that 1, the use of substandard construction material is rampant and must be stopped immediately by the concerned authority. Number 2, faulty design or absence of approved drawing during construction should not be tolerated. This, I went to Jos when I constituted that committee to work on the building collapse that happened in Jos. There is no drawing in the building. The building has no drawing. We check, there is not even basket as the columns are being erected. Faulty design, poor quality material was there. Number 3, lack of topography and technical investigation. It was observed that most of the buildings collapsed during rainy season. The actual values of soil bearing capacity must be used instead of assuming the value. Somebody will be in Lagos, a project is in Maiduguri, he will just phone, give me the soil bearing capacity, I will design the building, without even visiting the site. Please, professionals, let's do the right thing. If you are there, carry out your technical investigation. It is very, very important. The property of soil varies from one location to the other. The use of standard, well-equipped laboratory for testing of construction material should be encouraged. I encourage every state to come up with a strong laboratory to test these materials. Without testing, we won't know the quality of this material, whether it meets the standard specification or not. The last conclusion, the use of non-certified professionals, quack, should be discouraged at all levels. Finally, recommendations. The first recommendation, number 1, NIBRI advocates for structural integrity assessment. We should not allow a building to fail, to collapse before being proactive. We should do what we call structural integrity on the existing buildings, especially buildings that have experienced bomb blasts in that location. Some years back, some locations experienced bomb blasts, and the structural integrity of those buildings is in doubt. We agree that such buildings to undertake what we call structural integrity. Number 2, all stakeholders in the construction industry should adhere strictly to the provision of building code. Number 3, construction of large buildings, high-rise buildings should be awarded to competent and registered contractors. Please, what happens here is that I am a chief executive. I've seen professionals taking their credentials and giving it to contractors. The contractor will use it to get a project. And when the project has started executing, when you go there, none of these professionals are there. He just uses their credentials to get the contract. I want the professional body to come very strong on it. Any professional that gave his credentials to be used to win a project, COREN President, there should be a sanction, please, on that. Regulatory professional bodies should regularly organize workshops for stakeholders in the building industry and to create public enlightenment with respect to that. Geotechnical investigation should be carried out in line with what I've mentioned. It is very, very important for us to do that. Government and professional bodies should synthesize the general public on the steps to follow when embarking on a high-story building. Please, my president of COREN, I want you to take that very seriously. We do not have any jingle coming from any professional body. Somebody has money, he wants to build. He doesn't know the step, he doesn't know where to follow. We have never done any jingle when you want to build a house. Why? We should create awareness to the public. This is where you are supposed to go when you want to build a house. This is the people you are supposed to meet when you want to erect a structure. We have allowed the public to be walking in the dark. People continue to misguide them. Let there be a position with respect to COREN. COREN should advise the public on what to do if they want to build a house in form of a jingle. All professional bodies should strengthen their arm of monitoring to ensure that they function properly. I want to advocate that all professional bodies should be part of the project, and the cost of the supervision should be imbibed in the cost of the project. What's stopping M&E is the cost for the supervision. Please, the supervisory cost will be part of the project so that people should be involved in M&E. The next is that professionals in the construction sector should attend refresher courses to refresh their knowledge. It should be a requirement for renewal of license to operate. This should be carried out every 3 years and should be handled by a regulatory body, just like in the medical profession. Engineers, technicians, craftsmen, our certificate certificate should be updated. It should be licensed every 3 years. If you do not come for refresher course, do not renew the license. It will help us to be on the same page. Government should establish state rapid response team that will cater for victims of building collapse when it occurs. And finally, I want to conclude this paper by agitating a strong law should be enacted at the National Assembly to punish those that violate the building code, which will serve as deterrent to others. Once again, thank you, my President, for giving me the opportunity to speak as far as building collapse is concerned. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, is it true that Engineer Professor Samson Duna, Director General and CEO of NIBRI, has done justice to his presentation on the dilemma of tackling building failures in Nigeria? If that is so true, then give him a round of applause. Thank you very much, Prof. I'll quickly take this presentation, this recognition, and then Madam Faith Oje will continue from here. We recognize here at this gathering Engineer Enya E. Ojum, Fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, the former Executive Director Project of the Niger Delta Development Commission. You are very, very much welcome. We also welcome and recognize Engineer Kola Balogun, the Managing Director of Momas Electricity Meters Manufacturing Company Limited, and also Engineer Razak Obe, FNSC, Commissioner for Energy, Ondo State. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ejika. Next up, Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we will be having a presentation of the proposed COREN headquarters in Jahi, Abuja. Media, can we have the presentation, please?
Welcome to the walkthrough of the architectural design for the proposed national headquarters for the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN, a prestigious project planned for Jahi, Abuja. This 14-story building is envisioned to be a symbol of the strength and professionalism of Nigerian engineering practitioners, combining state-of-the-art technology. The site is 6,578 square meters with a building footing of approximately 2,000 square meters. The exterior of the building is designed to make a lasting impression. It features a sleek, modern facade which combines glass with other high-quality materials, creating a striking visual presence in the Abuja skyline. The exterior design is not only aesthetically pleasing, but also incorporates energy-efficient elements such as shading devices and reflective surfaces reduce energy consumption and contribute to the building's sustainability. As you enter the building, you are greeted by a grand entrance lobby and reception area, designed to convey the prestige and professionalism of COREN. The lobby is characterized by its high ceilings, abundant natural light, carefully selected materials, all contributing to a welcome and impressive atmosphere. This space is designed to seamlessly connect the exterior with the interior, creating a smooth transition for visitors and enhancing the building's overall accessibility. Let's explore the key features of this design, starting with the low level, which are critical to the building's functionality. The rear of the ground and the first floor are dedicated to parking, providing ample and well-organized space space for vehicles, ensuring that all visitors and staff have convenient access. This thoughtful arrangement facilitates smooth traffic flow, enhancing the user experience from the moment they arrive. Driving up and down the ramps is a continuous anti-clockwise direction, allowing for a smooth flow of traffic within the parking floors. We have 107 car parks available within the building structure on 7 split levels and 91 car parks within the side setbacks at the sides and the rear of the site. This gives a total car parking of 198 cars. On the second floor, you will find a suite of multifunctional halls designed to accommodate a variety of events from meetings to large gatherings. These halls are flexible in their configuration, offering the ability to host multiple events simultaneously. Adjacent to these halls is a 1,000-seater auditorium, which serves as a centerpiece for large conferences, seminars, and other significant events. The auditorium is designed with advanced acoustics and comfortable seating to ensure an optimal experience for all attendees. On the third floor, the design introduces a dedicated dining area, providing spacious and elegant environment for meals and social interactions. This dining floor is strategically placed to serve both the auditorium and the multifunctional halls, making it convenient for even participants and daily users alike. The space is designed to be more than just a cafeteria. It is a refined area that enhances the overall experience of the building's occupants. There is a direct access to the roof terrace, which offers a provision for extension of the dining for a sit-out on the terrace. The library complex occupies the rear on this floor. The 4th to 5th floor are for COREN secretariats and regional offices. The 6th floor is for the executive offices, that is council chamber, president office /PP, registrar office, etc. While the 7th to 14th floor are rentable offices. Surrounding the building, the landscape design includes well-maintained gardens and green spaces that enhance the aesthetic appeal while promoting environmental sustainability. These green areas are intended to offer beauty and functional outdoor spaces for relaxation and social interaction, further enriching the building's environment. This proposed design for the COREN National Headquarters is carefully crafted blend of functionality, comfort, and sustainability.
So there you have it, Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. That is the proposed COREN headquarters in Jahi, Abuja. For those of us who are standing behind, we have vacant seats at the gallery up. You can find somewhere to sit down. We've been sitting for a while now. I'd like to humbly request that we get up and stretch. You can take 2 steps forward and then 2 steps behind. So everyone, can you please stand? Okay, so you can take 2 steps forward, 2 steps to your right, 2 steps to your left, back, and then 2 steps backwards. Thank you very much. You may kindly be seated.
Then you can take 1 step to sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, here in our midst we have the chairman of IBOM Power, who equally is a council member of COREN and the chairman Central Plan Committee of the National Engineering Conference of the NSE, Engineer Iyan Etido, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Moving on, we'll take a couple of goodwill messages, and then we'll take the Codet and Compodet Awards presentation. To begin the goodwill messages, it is my singular honor and privilege to call up to the fore the MD Coleman Wire and Cables, Mr. George Olutokpe Onafowokong. Please a round of applause for him as he comes forward. We can do better with our applause.
The force for us in establishing Coleman Wires and Cables was to create a localized solution to power cables in Nigeria, where we saw there was a massive gap
Let's have volume on the sound, please. Media.
In solving our local needs of power. And when you look at the infrastructural deficiencies, cable happens to be a fair amount of it. And I think that was the main driving force for us. In terms of Nigeria, in terms of Africa today, we have one of the biggest product range of cables that is locally produced. We pride ourselves in actually saying all our cables are made in Nigeria, of the highest quality, of the highest volume. Today we could say we are technically the biggest cable company in Africa and are able to do that based on capacity. For us, we pioneered a lot of things in technology in Nigeria. If we look at it, what is remarkable today is for us is our Shagamu projects. Today, yes, everybody knows Coleman started fiber optic commissioning in 2022. We also know that we're into production of marine cable. But we're looking at the scale. As I keep saying, capacity, capability. So, which means scale up. And we expect, for instance, for fiber optics, we're changing the game now with the new factory, which should be up and running before the end of Q4 of this year. In fiber, for instance, we would scale up to the point where we have a 9 million fiber count factory, which is becomes the biggest fiber optic cable factory in the continent today, one of the biggest in the world. A lot of things can be made possible if we put our time and effort into it. We've pioneered in terms of the vision to actually do something exceptional. And when you do something exceptional, you also have to buy exceptional technology in terms of machinery. From the biggest producer of drawing machines in the world, we own the 10th line in the world in this country today. That is pioneering into so many other parts of the industry. The best part of government policy that has helped Coleman the most really has been the local content. The local content law since 2010 has impacted our business positively in terms of the fact that we've been able to grow the business first directed towards the oil and gas, like the high voltage cable that in 2015, which was directed at the oil and gas, but also solves indirectly and directly the solutions to power distribution in Nigeria. It's fortunate that we see sometimes a little bit of a barrier. The reason being the companies are not thinking as positive as we are or not moving at the pace at which we are is the self-belief that what they've been buying from wherever they've been buying from, especially with import, is better. But those companies were given an opportunity to do the business for them to get to that level. If you do not give the Nigerians the same level of opportunity, we will never move forward. As a pioneer company, we'll keep saying, watch this space. Yes, we're delivering so many new areas from the oil and gas to the telecom to pioneering in the power sector to pioneering in even some of the mining cables today. We've pioneered so many solar solutions, today now there's green energy and everything. Green energy needs a lot of solar power. We're a solution provider to everything new in this country. We pioneered some new ideas. But for us, it's not only just pioneering the ideas, but bringing the solution at affordable prices. If you cannot provide a solution that becomes too expensive to actually buy, then it's not a solution. It's just a cost on top of another cost on top of another layer. And for us, it's about providing a cost-effective, high-quality product in country.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to stand on all existing protocol. I appreciate the president of COREN and the team doing their visit to Coleman, as you've seen. For us, we're a proudly Nigerian company. By next year, 2025, Coleman will be 50 years old. And we're proud of the fact that we're a company of a legacy. We're a second generation, looking at a third generation coming into that business. And we're a proud Nigerian business that started from a micro small to the larger scale business in Africa today. In terms of solution, I'm also happy to acknowledge two of my directors here. One, a past president, Engineer Ogubayo, and my brother, Engineer Michael Onofoko, who are also here present. And for us, we're happy to partner COREN as well as NSC, because we're a company that has developed engineering in country. We have trained and skilled up over 800 people working with the team. We're proud to say for an engineering company, on equality, we have over 30% women working in the factory today. We've been able to achieve that because of technology automation, whereby the workload in 8 hours is less than 3, because the machine does the rest of the time you spend. Coleman today is proud of the fact that we're able to supply not only Nigeria, but 50% of West Africa from that factory. It's today the biggest factory in Africa today by capacity, 36,000 ton capacity of copper processing per month, 24,000 ton capacity of aluminum processing per month, the biggest fiber optic production in Africa today in country, in Nigeria. So basically, we can solve it in Nigeria. And it's a company that is very proud that we're Nigerians leading in technology, leading in production, leading in capacity. 25 megawatts of inbuilt power of our own independent power gas in our own factories today, expecting to grow that to over 40 megawatts of our own independent power plants. And at the moment, we have over 450,000 square meters, and we expect within the next 2 years to be over 1 million square meters of factory with over 5,000 workforce directly working for Coleman. And those are Nigerians. Less than 1% of our total staff base are foreigners, 99% are Nigerians. It's a proud company built by Nigerians, supplying Nigerians, making it available, supporting the engineering, and we believe the future is bright for us, and we'll be here to support COREN and NSC to the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The MD, Coleman Wire and Cables. Engineer Honorable Sheun Faborewa, we duly recognize you and thank you for being here with us today. Very quickly, I would like to call on His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Ebonyi State, Right Honorable Francis Ogbonna, who is ably represented here by the Commissioner Works, Ebonyi State, Engineer Stanley Ilebuchi. A round of applause, please. Let's have you here. Very quickly. Stanley. Media, thank you. Thank you. You have 2 minutes and your time starts now. Thank you.
I'm giving 1 minute to make a goodwill message. I want to appreciate my governor, Right Honorable Buda Francis Obonia Winfrey, who has given me the privilege to stand on behalf of him in this epoch-making event of a great mind. Valued engineers, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and the members of the press. It is an honor to be here with you today at this remarkable gathering of minds, where the spirit of innovation, ingenuity, and progress, which characterize the revered engineering profession, is true life. I want to thank the organizers for bringing us together to hold the Engineering Assembly. We seek to unveil the internship, the word engineering. I also thank each of you for dedication to build a better future for our communities, our states, and our nation. I am sure that after this gathering today, there will be no more room for building collapses. Engineers are the backbones of the society. You are the ones who turn dreams into realities. You build bridges, roads, and buildings, and connectors, and the whole design system and technologies that makes our life more efficient, sustainable, from the throwing skyscrapers that define our cities to interact networks that powers our homes, our works touching every aspect of our daily life. We thank you, the engineers, as we face the challenges of the 21st century. Okay. In closing, I want to encourage each of you to continue to push in the boundaries of what possible. Your work is not just about solving a technical problem, it is about making the lasting impact of the world around you with the creativity, expert, and commitment. I also want to confidently think we can overcome the challenges and the building better, more sustainable development. Thank you all, and I look forward to seeing the incredible things you will achieve in this year to come as seasoned engineers, given the challenges infrastructure debt plugging to the country. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Next up for his goodwill message, please permit me to invite Engineer Abayomi Dele, Director, Project Certification and Authorization, NCDMB, for his goodwill message. Your time is already ticking. You have 1 minute, and it has already started ticking. A round of applause for him, please.
Yeah, good afternoon. I have about 4 pages here, but in view of time, I'll try and see whether I summarize it based on the directive given by my principal, Engineer Felix Omoshola Ogbe, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. He's based currently in Bayelsa, Yenagoa, and unable to join today. So 3 key points that I want to extract from his speech. The first one is related to what Governor Sule said, Engineer Alai Sule, regarding the need for us to focus and pick one particular item every year. Engineer Ogbe says that you can look like 3, whether it is in refining or power or infrastructure, and every year in, year out, we're able to report back at this assembly on what we've achieved. I went through the proceedings, and I see about 13 action points from last year. So it would have been nice that today we're looking into those things that were picked up from last year's event and see where we are on them. So hopefully by the 33rd assembly, we'll be able to reflect on what are the key points that we picked today and sort of discuss it next year, so that we don't keep piling up proceedings with actions without any closure. The second point is around the collaboration between COREN and NCDMB. So the Executive Secretary is delighted about the current effort on what is happening around the collaboration. As you know, Section 72 of the law requires that a representative of COREN must be in our governing council. So we currently have a rep of COREN in the governing council of NCDMB. A lot of things we've achieved today are due to those support we are getting from COREN. The MD of Coleman just spoke now, and please, if you note, he mentioned NCDMB. Coleman is one of the poster company of NCDMB. Same thing with Edoka. Lastly, because I can see the vice chairman that called me around 12 a.m. Today to come here telling me to get out of the stage because of time. Let me just read the last part in which the Executive Secretary is saying that that there's an opportunity to also reflect on on the sort of steady crew change that's happening. As you know, there are younger ones coming in. Some of us are getting closer to that point in which we need to exit. So the Executive Secretary is saying, lastly, that there's a need for us to provide a platform for our younger generations so that going forward, we'll see more of them on stage present to the audience. Thank you very much.
A round of applause for him, please. Next up for his goodwill message, I'd like to call up to the stage the Executive Secretary of the National Board for Technical Education, Engineer Professor Idris Bagaje. A round of applause, please.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, let me stand on the existing protocols. All protocols duly observed. I will start by congratulating the Nigerian engineers for this very great assembly, maybe one of the largest. And I would also like to commend the President of COREN for engagement. Over the years, NTA has made efforts to reach out and involve COREN in our activities. But I think it's only of recent that we have received very serious attention from the President of COREN. And it is this that will lead to the launch tomorrow of the Sector Skill Council on Engineering. Inshallah. Now, let me also commend COREN for another very important activity, the solidarity visit they paid to Dangote refinery. That's very commendable. The Dangote refinery, if we are going to list the 7 wonders of the new century, the new millennium, I think Dangote refinery will be there. You can think of the 4th Industrial Revolution. You can think of achievements in biotechnology. But we must also include the Dangote refinery. Unfortunately, this great fiat is being frustrated by some technocrats of the NNPCL and probably some politicians. And it was that solidarity visit by COREN that is now changing the tone. You could hear government saying they will give the refinery crude oil in Naira. In my opinion, there is even no need to send crude oil to the Dangote refinery. We better do barter trade. The refinery requires only 650,000 barrels per day. Each barrel is 150 liters. So that brings it to about 100 million liters per day. So all you need to do is we give them 100 million liters. They are going to produce about 70 million liters of PMS. So let them give us PMS diesel in return for those crude oil. And this way we can be able to sell PMS GMS and crude oil at whatever rate we want to. Before I leave the podium, as engineers, I would like to take us back to 1958. In 1958, 3 countries in 3 continents were adjudged to be at the same level of development. These countries were Nigeria in Africa, South Korea in Asia, and Brazil in Latin America. In the last 66 years, Brazil has produced a lot of new technologies. In the last 66 years, South Korea has produced Samsung, LG, Hyundai, Huber robots, etc., etc. I'm not sure Nigeria in the last 66 years has produced even a single technology. Nothing to show. So this is the challenge that I'm throwing at our engineers. We must sit up and face this great challenge. I've been asked to leave. I wish you all successful deliberations on behalf of the National Board for Technical Education. We see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Next up, we're having award presentations by Compodet and Codet. Can we have the chairman of Compodet and the chairman of Codet up here? In the next 1 minute, please. Please be swift, very swift. You have 2 minutes to do this. Thank you.
We want to appreciate the president of COREN, Engineer Professor Sadiq Abubakar, and the registrar of COREN, Engineer Professor Adisa Bello. All protocols be observed. I also have with me this afternoon the chairman of CODET, Engineer Professor Nuruddin Raji, and also with me here the vice chairman of CODET as well, Engineer Roland Azike. Thank you very much. The 7th CODET competition was held, and we have the following awards in 2 categories this afternoon. One, the category for the best graduating students in our Nigerian university, and the second category is on the projects, both in the single category and also in the group category. I would like all the students here represented to come, and if they are not on seat, then a representative from the university should quickly come to pick this award. Thank you very much. For the best graduating students, we have that coming from the First Technical University, Ibadan, and the student here is Bazit Yekin. Please, let's put a hand together as we welcome the university representative. While the second goes to the Federal University of Technology, Mina 1, and the student is Abdul Hakim Aminu Obejara. Please, let's put hands together for the student. While the third goes to Vito Wanu Jombul Anuluapo from the Federal University of Technology, Akure. I hope their representatives are here to receive this award on their behalf. Then, in the single category for the project, which was held on August 31st, year 2024, the first award goes to Alimi Yuzirat Dami Lola from the University of Ibadan. And the title of the project is Design and Development of an Automatic Syringe Infusion Pump. The second goes to Ilo Stephanie Chidinma from Afe Babalola University, and the title of the project is Design and Construction of a Prototype Vertical Axis Wind Turbine for Electricity Generation. And the third goes to, please let's put hands together for this wonderful students. And the third position goes to Abubakar Muhammad from Kebbi State University of Science and Technology. And the title of the project is Smart Digital Podium. Yes, the Dean also can collect that on their behalf. And on the final presentation here, we have the students in the group category. And the first goes to Covenant University. And the names of the students are Emmanuel Oluwatobi and Ivine Yelebe Pleasant Emi Nizbe. And the title of the project is Development of Roofing Planks Truss using Waste Plastics and Rice Husk. The second position goes to Ekiti State University. And the title of the project is Design and Implementation of a Smart Walking Stick for the Visually Impaired. And the students are Messi Kweyemi Owoyomi and Oluwapelumi Oluwatosin Ajayi, while the third position goes to the University of Ilorin. And we have the students Hamzat Eba Oyindamola, Enebi Oluwada Bosiata, Yahaya Walima Jumai, and Adewusi Biliamin Babatunde. And the title of the project is An Innovative Mobility Aid with Collision Prevention Mechanism for Individuals Living with Lower Limbs. Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate your audience, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Round of applause and congratulations to all of the winners.